Did you know that there are foods today that we cannot call them more food? We have to call them edibles because they are so bad for our health that we cannot call them food. And today everyone talks about healthy foods, nutrient-dense foods, low carb, low fat, high fat, vitamins, probiotics, prebiotics, minerals, magnesium, copper, iron. You might think that having a good diet is that you have to be super obsessed and super restrictive, and that you cannot be eating a lot of foods, and yet that you can only eat a little variety of foods. And no, having a good diet and understanding your diet and having a diet that is going to be something that you can do everywhere, anywhere, and for a long time, it's a diet that you know, that you handle, but that you enjoy. And enjoying a diet is knowing how to eat, but still enjoy having a drink, enjoy having a glass of wine, enjoy having dessert, ice cream. I love ice cream. I love red wine. I love having a beer once in a while. Last night I had a beer with my wife. Why? Because I know how a glass of wine, a beer, or an ice cream can live in a good, healthy diet, and how a good, healthy diet lives in a good, healthy lifestyle. And a good, healthy lifestyle is not being obsessed. It's being in charge. And did you know that when we go to the supermarket, the time that you take on decide when to get a product is 4 seconds. And this is highly studied, that the time you take to make a decision on to take a product is just 4 seconds. Let's remember that cardiovascular disease, it's the leading cause of disease and death in the world, especially in developed countries, but all around the world. And diet is the leading cause of cardiovascular disease. Why? Because we don't know how to choose our diet. And we just go to the supermarket and pick whatever we want because of pleasure. And the industry knows this very well. And they know you want to eat, that you want to eat more, and that they can trigger you and me so we can keep on eating and eating and eating. And that is something that they know really well. That's why they get all these artificial flavors and all this fat, sour, salty flavors so we can enjoy in our mouth, and we just keep on eating and eating and eating. And what this leads to is to, of course, disease. But diet could be very dangerous, but diet can be also our best ally to treat disease. So we're going to go through what is eating healthy. What are the nutrients that we really need? Why are they linked to inflammation? What in those groups, what can you add? What can you include? And what we should be avoiding from that group. So before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and to hit the bell so we can tell you whenever we make a new video. So let's go and see what are the groups that we really need to include. The first one is proteins. Proteins are very important. They're the building blocks for everything in our body, but they're just not the building blocks for the muscle. They're the building blocks for your joints, for your bones, for your skin, but also they're very important because everything in the immune system, everything in your blood, everything on the cell membrane is made of proteins. So when we eat proteins, we have two groups. We have animal proteins that usually comes from organs or muscles, and we have veggie proteins that comes especially from legumes, from mushrooms, from nuts. But remember that these groups, they have more carbs when you eat them than protein. When you eat legumes like beans or lentils, you're eating any amount that you're eating, you're going to have more carbs and more starches and more fiber than the amount of protein that you're eating. And when you're eating animals, you're eating fat, you're eating water, you're eating a little amount of fiber, and you're eating some protein. So this is something you need to remember. And whenever we want to have a healthy diet, what we need to have is a diet in which we include 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of my weight. And this is what I'm going to eat on a day. Now let's go to fats. Fats are very important. And how much fat can I eat? You should be eating around 30% of your daily requirements on healthy fats. Healthy fats is nuts, seeds, olive oil or olives, avocado oil or avocados. You can eat coconut. These are the fats that we really want to include in our diet. And we want them mixed. We have different kinds of fats. We have fats from eggs that are omegas and dietary cholesterol, remember that dietary cholesterol, we don't absorb it. So you don't have to be afraid of eating eggs at all. We need to include good omegas, especially omega-3 coming from fish or coming from seeds. We need to include monounsaturated fats coming from avocados or coming from olives. And we need to eat some, not a lot, some amount of saturated fats. And people are afraid of saturated fats because they might increase your cholesterol levels. And this is true, but they're not going to increase the bad particles of cholesterol. You need to know that you should eat a little amount of saturated fats, and they might come from dairy, they might come from coconut, they might even come from the meat that you're consuming. Other way that you can calculate it is by calculating in between 0.5 and 1 gram of fat per body weight per day. So let's remember that we have, if we want to see it easily, there are 3 kinds of carbs. We have simple sugars, we have starches, and we have fibers. What about starches? Starches is what we have on potatoes, sweet potato, and rice, some of a part of corn. What happens with that? There are chains of glucose that are bound together, just glucose particles that are bound together. When they enter our intestine, we have enzymes that break it and break it into glucose so they can go on our bloodstream and again follow exactly the same of what I just told you. Or they go for energy, or they go to get stored in the muscle and in the liver in a way that it's very similar to a starch called glycogen. They rebond together, or if you're eating more, then they're going to go and be stored as fat. But the other type of carb, which is very important, is fiber. And we have 2 types of fiber. We have soluble and insoluble fiber. This is something that we're not going to go in this video. But when we consume nuts, when we consume seeds, when we consume the good amount of veggies and a big variety of different veggies, and when we consume fruit, not juiced, fruit the way it is, we consume good amount of fiber. Fiber is very, very important for our immune system, the fuel and the food for a microbiome, all the microorganisms that we have in our bowel, which is very, very important for a lot of conditions. They are going to produce anti-inflammatory fats that they work very, very good in our body, lowering inflammation, and they're very important for our immune system. It's going to make that the velocity in which glucose enters from our intestine to our bloodstream is going to be lower. So the glucose spikes and the insulin spike that we end up having afterwards when we eat fiber, when we eat good amounts of fiber, it's going to be lower. And that's going to be very healthy for a lot of metabolic conditions which are related to cardiovascular disease, and or even they can be linked even to dementia. And if you're going to go deeper on dementia, please remember to see this video that we made recently on dementia. And we also talked about, these were the macronutrients that we should be including. But what are the micronutrients? Because we've heard of vitamins and minerals and these other things. Which micronutrients that we can include? Well, micronutrients are minerals like magnesium, copper, iron, manganese, sodium, potassium, chloride, and air. All these are the minerals that we have in our diet, where they are widely spread, especially in meats, nuts, seeds, legumes, and everything that we just talked about. Ones have more, ones have less, but there are a lot of charts and tables that you can go and see. If you go, for instance, I want something that it's high on magnesium, well, you can go for chocolate, bananas, nuts, seeds that they are high on magnesium, and you can look for them, and you can include them in your diet. Now that we know what can we eat, again, the best way to eat is try to find foods that you can pay. Try to find foods that you can find locally. Try to find foods that way you're not going to overpay and you're also helping the planet. And once you've picked what you can find, what it's easy for you to find, what you can pay, then you're going to see how you can manage it. Again, try to eat starting 7 a.m. and the last meal, make it 7 p.m. So guys, remember, again, having a healthy diet, it's easy. Having a healthy diet, it's being in charge of your diet, and it's a part of a healthy lifestyle, the one that you understand and that you control. And this is the whole purpose of this channel, to teach you how to be in charge of your health. So if you think that these videos are good, please remember that the best way to support us, it's very easy. It's just to share them and to hit the like button. And remember that you can be a part of this community when you subscribe to the channel and when you hit the like button. So every time that we make new videos, we can tell you. Bye, and till next time.